I had some demons after that fight. You know, after that loss, I had some real demons.
Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
All right, Luke, you're in Phuket, man. Is this your first trip out here?
It's my third trip to Thailand. First trip training in Thailand.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
the other two prior trips were just like
I went
holidays?
with a family a few years ago, and then I took my missus out here just for like a post-Christmas celebration. And then, yeah, like I said, it's the first time I'm out here with my fiance now, but strictly professional job trip.
Okay. But, you know, you have your fiance, so it's fun.
Oh,
It's
brother,
a little
like,
more
yeah, I
fun.
say job trip. My job is training every day, so it's it's a good life and it's a good career. But we're here for business. You know what I mean?
So, you know, what are you working on then? You know, there must be a purpose for your trip. And
Yeah.
training is, but is there a skill set aspect to it? Or
It's
what?
funny. I came out here with the intention to work like solely on Muay Thai and then occasionally grapple. And then obviously I met George and Frank, and I have such like admiration for them, man. And then I went to a couple wrestling sessions and realized how high level it was, and I'm here now every 4 p.m. class. So and the Muay Thai's kind of taken a back step, but come next week I'm getting back to pad sessions like every other day, striking classes, and then I'm just gonna stick with the MMA class every day regardless. But
Yeah, how has your trip been here so far at Bangtao?
I love it, man. I love it. We planned, so I booked accommodation halfway between here and like Tiger and all the other gyms. I thought I'll try here, do a day pass. Did 1 day pass, tried one other gym and just fell in love with this place. Moved closer, booked me and my missus full training here. So yeah, man, no, this is an incredible facility, great training, high level coaching, and we're in paradise. So
Was that your first day when I met you in the Muay Thai class?
no, that was my first week though. That was my
Okay,
first week.
first week,
Yeah,
okay.
first week. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're fully settled in now. The heat is still taking time to adjust, but I'm a lobster man, so it's, I don't do well in the sun, but I enjoy it regardless.
Yeah, funny story. Like, I was in the Muay Thai class in the morning, and then I just get partnered up with you somehow. And I'm like, I recognize this guy. He's big. And I was like, I recognize the face. You know what I mean? I was like, where should I put it? And then you put your gloves on, or you
Yeah.
switched your gloves.
Yeah,
And your
yeah,
name was on. I was like, oh, all right, now I know who this guy
man.
is.
And you know, it's funny, that night, for whatever reason, I was watching old clips of the Sullivan Corley fight, and then I saw the interview. It was the exact same night. I was like, nah, this. I was like, is this guy getting intel, or I didn't know if you were part of Sully's, and then I realized. But yeah, man, small world, man.
It
Small
is
world.
definitely a small world, man. But it was a pleasant surprise, man. To
nah,
just be in the
wicked.
class and then you just walk in. I was just
Yeah.
like, what are you doing here? You're not no beginner.
Again, that's the thing, because there's so many classes here. I was getting used to, you know, I wanted to try every class. So I actually enjoy that class too. Like, it's a good fitness. It's a good fitness one if you don't want to do the bang fit or something else. But yeah, I feel like any class you go to, you're gonna benefit in some way. So yeah, just funny, man. Small world.
Yeah, it is definitely. Let's go back to the last fight, man. The Sullivan Coley fight. You just mentioned it, and I did interview Sullivan Coley ahead of that fight. I didn't interview you. This is our first interview, but you watched that interview. What'd you think of the interview? I don't want to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, great interview technique. No, I mean, he of it, like I said before, man, he come with the exact energy you should be coming with. He was super confident, super sure he was going to run through me, had zero respect for my skill set, because he had like, I don't know, 5 first round finishes, mostly by knockout, blah, blah, blah. Come from a good camp, Ryan Bader's gym, all that jazz. But we knew, like I said it in my interview, I said, I was in the exact same boat. I was 5-0, 5 first round finishes, and then I lost. And then, you know, I realized, boom, 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 this is the life, this is the game, you have to bounce back. And I was that guy for him. So great interviewer. I have nothing but respect for Sully, and his energy I expected. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because Sullivan, he was just getting all the hype. You know what I mean? He's the American wrestler. You know what I mean? Like, he's 5 straight wins, all finishes first round. You know, like, even in the interview, I was like, oh, you're going to break the record for most knockouts in the first round, right? And and it almost seemed like he thought it was what is it?
He thought I was a cakewalk, man. He thought he was gonna run through me.
Yeah.
Listen, when he said, you know, striking, he's tall. Like, I guess he's tall, and that's good. Wrestling, he has nothing for me. Jiu-jitsu has nothing for me. And I was watching, and my coach, Ashley Grimshaw, he said, listen, he didn't think you have jiu-jitsu. And I thought, if you've watched any of my fights, you realize like I've got something in the tank. So and that whole NCAA wrestler stuff, that's great, but they don't have a cage in collegiate wrestling. You know what I mean? So he tried, got me down, I got back up, took his back, choked him out. Everything game plan wise, I thought we were going to strike a bit more because he's this big brash boxer, Golden Gloves champ, blah blah blah, and he just wanted to shoot. So I took whatever he wanted, and we got the choke. So yeah, it was a great win for me and an important lesson for him.
Yeah, it seems like you're able to just like slide into the back position often on a lot of people, and you're huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Usually those guys that could get to the back real quick, they're kind of the smaller, quicker guys, but you're massive and you just do it to everybody. Like, where does that come from? Who did you learn your back takes from?
To be fair, it's the back for me is like the greatest position in grappling or MMA. You know, in terms of TKO, ground and pound or jiu-jitsu. I love Charles Oliveira, and I've tried to like adapt a lot of his skill set, especially on the ground. And he's so slick, get into the back from multiple situations and positions. So yeah, it's the easiest path to victory. You get someone's back, you're either gonna choke them out or you'll flatten them. TKO. So, yeah, it's a no-brainer for me. I had to work on that position.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier about, like, you were the 5-0 guy, and then you fought Simon Bion and took your first loss. How did that impact you? Because you talked about you had lessons from that fight, but what were some of the biggest ones, you think?
Yeah, I mean, going into the fight during camp, and this isn't an excuse. I went into the fight. He went into the fight. It's taking nothing away. I went into the fight with like things going on physically, and everyone around me, my corner, my dad, my teammates said not to fight, and I didn't take the advice. I went in there because I thought I was the man and I could kill everyone, whatever. And I realized that actually I've got people around me to tell me what to do for a reason, you know, and I should take advice at times. But credit to Simon, man. I had his back in the first round, and I made the mistakes. He made great defense, and then for the next 2 rounds, I was a punchback. Do you know what I'm saying? So, but it showed that I can take a hit, and I've got zero quit in me. So, yeah, lesson learned. Made for some, I got some cool pictures out of it. So it is what it is, bro. But I'm just glad. I'm glad I went through that then. So now I realize. And the other thing is, you're either gonna win or you're gonna lose. Do everything you can to win, and if you lose, you lose. You go out on your shield. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, great lesson. Great lesson.
And you came back strong after that, man.
Yeah,
you did really well as well.
I had some demons after that fight. You know, after that loss, I had some real demons. And I took that guy out in Italy and sat on that cage. I gave a scream, and I was like, "Oh bloody hell!" Like it felt like something left me. So, yeah, I'm very grateful for that experience.
What do you mean demons?
Just it's hard to explain if you've like you dedicate so much of your life to a sport, to competition, and then you lose, and that puts you in such a dark hole. Not everyone, it put me in such a dark hole. I fell into like this weird, I don't want to call it depression because people have been through a lot worse than me, but I fell into this weird like mind state where I couldn't walk from my supermarket and buy grapes without thinking every Tom, Dick and Harry is going to look at me and think, oh, that's the guy who lost and got beat, you know? And I carried that for so long, and then that mindset carried into my like family and friendship circle, and I distanced myself away from a lot of people and just lived with a lot of negativity, and then came into camp, found a new lease on life on training, and I moved teams. I got new coaches, got a new routine, and that was the greatest mindset I've ever had in a fight. And I've just managed to so far like maintain that for the next fights past. So that's what I mean by demons. Like I had a lot of stuff I was harboring and carrying. Once I got that win and I got to like scream on top of the cage, it was just like they like kind of left.
Okay.
I got that peace back. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, weird. I don't know.
Yeah, you need to go through that, right? It's better to go through that earlier in your career rather than when it's like for the title or something
100%.
like that, right? Then it could really crush you, to be honest with you, because you get to that, you're hyped so high, and then you go and you fight for something that you really want. That's the pinnacle.
Yeah.
And you lose. Yeah, that could just, we've seen it. Ronda Rousey.
100%.
And it could happen to anybody.
Man, my teammate, one of my close friends, Simeon Powell, he's the superstar of PFL Europe right now. He was on, I think he was on an 8-fight win streak, 8-0. He is the next big thing. Like, he's a flipping superstar right now, let alone in the making. And he lost in the final against a super tough opponent. Made one wrong decision, got caught, and it is what it is. This is the life. But I feel sorry for the soul who has to fight him next, because now he has the same thing. Like, he has those demons now, and he's like, all right, well, this is never happening again. He was already at such a high gear. For the next camp, I have no idea what we're going to be doing in the gym now. Like, I'm looking forward to going home and seeing, like, the new Simeon Powell. So it's like, and he got to experience that now before he goes to the big leagues. Yeah. And then, like you said, the pressure's off. He's lost. He knows what it feels like. The people around him, his missus, his family, everyone still loves him. And that's something that I had to realize. I thought everyone was gonna like throw me to the wayside. And then I realized, like, life goes on. This is just a sport. Yeah. Like, if I get my leg cut off tomorrow, I can't fight anymore, but I've still got my family, my friends, my flipping purpose in life, So it's an important lesson to have.
Since your last fight, you were supposed to fight at Bellator 299. That fight was canceled due to your opponent. But the biggest news was Bellator, rumors flowing. You're probably sitting at home like, what's going on? Because they're talking about they're going to sell Bellator to PFL. It was like months and months and months of just rumors and news articles about the situation. And from what I heard is the fighters didn't know nothing.
Not a thing. Super stressful.
How stressful? Yeah.
So stressful. This is my only source of income, and like I said, since 18, this is all I've had a passion for. I got to the big league. I was super inactive, not any fault of my own. Like, it was just what Bellator decided how they handled me. I was very inactive, and then you hear the rumors, and you're hearing, like, I remember my mum telling me some news article that I hadn't seen yet, and I was like, how are you finding out with your 3 Instagram followers before I know? Do you know? So it's everyone seemed like they were left in the dark. I talked to 1 or 2 champions from Bellator on Instagram, and I asked them and thought I could get a bit of inside scoop, and they had no idea too. So super stressful. Now it's a little less stressful. I still don't know exactly what's going on, but we have a few options. It's but everyone's still in the grey, so we don't actually know what's going on yet.
Yeah, they haven't announced anything for PFL or Bellator, but it looks like in the next couple of weeks we're gonna hear some things. And man, you got options beyond like just fighting, the next contender. You could actually go into the $1 million tournament this season if you're, does that interest you?
It interests me for sure. It's it's an option. It's weird. I really hate change. I don't do well with change. I love routine. I'm a creature of habit. It's a flaw of mine, and I need to start adapting because this is life. But my goal was to become Bellator champion, was to fight 3 to 4 times a year, have very regimented camps, earn a certain amount of money, blah, blah, blah. That was taken out of my control, and now I'm being told that I may have to switch and do this and that. So I don't know. I'm going to have to just take what I can get at this point. If it's a tournament, if I get to stay in Bellator and keep climbing the way I wanted to, then I do that. But it's no one knows what's going on. So I'm just waiting for the call, and then I'll just adapt to it then.
Apparently, like, fighters are going to be able to go back and forth. Like, you'll be able to fight on the Bellator and then also be able to fight on PFL, because PFL does have the pay-per-views now.
So if they put me in a tournament this year,
then you most likely
then I just fight in a tournament. But then if I'm the PFL champion, I go and fight Bellator, and then who do I fight? The champion, or do I fight
it's
PFL guy? Like, I don't know. You know that
it's open.
So I don't know. I'll be honest. I would have much preferred the way it was because there's a clearer path for me. There's a clear blueprint for me that I can visualize. Now, until I get told what the plan is, it's like, cool, go to Thailand, have some fun, train, soak up the knowledge from new coaches and stuff. And then when it's time to get back to camp, I go back home with my team and we sit down, figure out the plan, and then we get after it. But yeah, I cannot stand not knowing what's going on.
You never know what's going to happen by the end of the year, right? It's the beginning of the year. And if you do go into the tournament, you could be a millionaire by the end of the year within like 11 months, dude. That's wild to me.
It's true. Yeah. My whole apprehension for the tournament in my mind, the first thing was I will not fight Sim. Like he's my boy. He's been my boy since I was 21, 22. He's my main training partner. I've relied on him. He's relied on me. I know his family. He's met mine. Like it's, for me, there's like a moral compass. And some people tell me, oh, I'd fight my mum for $1 million. And I would say wouldn't fight my mum in a million years for any amount of money. So I don't understand that, and it is what it is. But my moral compass says I'm not fighting my friends. You have to go to a place when it comes to a fight where you're willing to die or you're willing to kill someone. Like it's because it can happen, you know, and we've seen it happen before. So I'm not willing to do that. So my whole thing was, if Sim was in the tournament, then cool. That's Sim's tournament. He's earned it. He's done a leg room with the European stuff. Let him do his thing and I'll figure it out. If he's not in the tournament, then it's a different situation. But yeah, like you said, you could be a millionaire by the end of the year. So, you know, we'll just see. It's just, I've had 2 fights in 2.5 years, you know, like, and I wanted 3 to 4 fights every year for the past 5 years. So it's like, I've had such inactivity. I would have loved to have tested myself correctly and built up correctly and done everything like a lot of other fighters in the PFL or Bellator have got to do. Whereas I've been dealt a hand where I haven't had the same route. So that, you know, I've got to figure out, once they tell me what I can do, I've got to figure out a plan after that.
Well, when you look at the flip side, right, which is Bellator and their light heavyweight division, you're ranked number 8, I believe. And when you look at the rankings and you look at like the momentum that you have, you just knocked off one of the guys that they were probably gonna push. If they if he beat you, they'll probably push him against somebody with a name. You see any names ahead of you, like, okay, that's the matchup that I would want this year.
Man, my goal was, give me Sully. I get to knock him out of the way. I'm number 8 and I'm only going toward 1. So like, if that means it's there was a few guys before, like the top 4 who I don't actually know the names of, but knock out maybe 6 or 5, and then give me the Phil Davises, the Corey Andersons, the Yoel Romeros. Like that was my plan. I needed 1 fight after Sully, and then boom, chuck me into the deep end at top 4 to top 1. You know, like there's no reward without risk, right? So like I was ready to face those big names, but like build me in correctly. You know, like. We've got a ranking system for a reason. Use it. If I'm in the top 10, then you got to push me to number 1. And if I get knocked out on my way, then push me back and let the next guy try. So that was my plan. Still, if if there's those names that are ready and wanting a fight and Bellator want to make it happen, I would love that. So yeah, I just wish that. In another universe, I could have built up correctly, but hopefully now with this big buyout and stuff, they're gonna run it a little bit differently.
Yeah. I think there's gonna be some changes, and it's gonna be, just to be honest with you, more opportunities for PFL fighters and Bellator fighters, right? Because I think so. More events, more fighters on the roster, more options, right? They might come to you with some, you know, option that you never even thought of, an opponent that you never even thought of on the PFL show or something like that. 100. You know what I mean? You never know. But you just want to fight.
I literally just want to go, you know? And it's been great working with Bellator because although they haven't maybe handled me the way I would have loved them to handle me, like I really like the staff, Mike and Jude, like they've been really cool to me and stuff, and I'm glad I've built those connections. But now it's working with a whole new company. I've got no idea about, you know, I'm all about building rapport with people and being a company man and stuff. So yeah, it's an interesting future. So whatever happens, I want to be fighting March, April time. you know, that gives me enough time now to prep. Hopefully they tell me in the next couple of weeks, and then we get cracking. But yeah, yes. It's sad, you know, when this is all you want to do, and you're always ready, and no one calls you. I can't explain it, man. There's a couple guys in here
it's like
who get shelved.
You're from the UK. Do you guys have like a prom, like in high school? Like
Yeah.
It's like not getting invited to that, right? You're like waiting and waiting and waiting.
Do you know what I mean? I don't need to be prom king. Like,
Just invite me.
just someone. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's genuinely how it feels. And there's nothing you can do. Like I've tried the whole build up my social media and like post more and get more engaged, because like, you know, you get told that fighting isn't enough. Sometimes you did that, and then that didn't work. Then I tried like some weird stuff. Like I did like a cooking show for and got new companies to shout me out and blah blah. And like you do all this stuff, and then you realize, well, this is taking time away from my training. I need to be getting better, but with no fights, you just hit a plateau. Like you can't. You can do all the training you want in the world without getting under the lights and testing yourself. You can't hit that next level, you know? So it's literally, give me a call, March or April, get cracking, whether it's the PFL, whether it's the Bellator, whatever it is. Man, I'd go back to my regional shows at this point, do you know what I mean? And just to be active and get busy. So yeah, we're just waiting now.
All right. Well, all the best, man, for the rest of the year, and hopefully you get your 3 fights, 4 fights.
My man.
Man, never know what's gonna happen. Like I said earlier, you could be in the $1 million tournament. You know, who knows, man? You could be fighting for the title.
Yeah.
Who knows? You know what I mean? In this sport, everything goes so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, everything all good, man. Thank you.
You're the man. Thank you, John. I appreciate it, brother.